As the sun drops over the marsh, the sky begins to move. First, a few hundred birds, then thousands. At the biggest winter roosts, hundreds of thousands, sometimes closing on 1,000,000. Starlings gathering at dusk. And then, the whole cloud does something that should be impossible. It folds. It splits. It pours itself inside out, thousands of bodies wheeling at once, and not one of them collides. No leader flies at the front. No plan, no signal shouted across the sky. So how does a flock of thousands move like a single living thing? The answer is one simple rule, and it's stranger than it sounds.
Look closely, and it should be chaos. Each starling is flying fast, packed almost wing to wing, changing direction several times a second. If every bird were trying to track the whole crowd at once, it could never keep up. The flock would smear into a pileup. And there's no one in charge to stop that from happening. No lead bird calling the turns. Now, we've known for a while that you don't actually need a leader. Back in the 1980s, a computer scientist showed that a screen full of dots would flock all on its own, as long as each dot just followed a few simple rules about its nearest neighbors. No plan required. But that was a simulation. Real birds in a real sky turned out to be doing something subtler. And to find it, scientists had to catch the flock in the act.
They caught it over Rome. On rooftops beneath the evening roosts, physicists aimed synchronized cameras at the starlings and rebuilt the flocks in 3 dimensions, bird by bird. And when they measured who was reacting to whom, they found the rule. Each starling wasn't keeping tabs on the whole flock. It wasn't even watching everything within some set distance. It was tracking a fixed number of its closest neighbors, about 7. Not 7 feet, 7 birds. Whether the flock squeezed tight or spread thin, that number held, roughly 7. And that small detail is the whole secret. Because it's a count, not a distance, the flock can stretch and compress. A falcon can tear straight through it, and every bird still holds on to its 7. The shape bends, it doesn't break. The togetherness isn't in the spacing, it's in the counting.
Now watch what happens when the flock turns. A few birds on one edge bank away, and the turn doesn't fade as it spreads inward. It travels. Like a wave rolling down a struck rope, it crosses the flock clean and fast, barely weakening. Scientists have clocked it. The turn moves at 20 to 40 meters a second, highway speed, sweeping across hundreds of birds in about half a second. Part of the reason it stays so sharp is that once a bird commits to a turn, it resists changing how hard it's turning, a kind of built-in momentum. So the decision passes along like a ripple in a taut string, not a rumor dying out through a crowd. This isn't telepathy. It isn't the speed of thought. It's a real, physical wave, one you could time with a stopwatch. But it leaves us with a stranger puzzle. If each bird only ever watches about 7 others, how does the entire flock feel that turn almost at once? Here's where it gets beautiful. The flock behaves as if it's balanced right on the edge of a tipping point. Think of the instant before a magnet snaps all its needles into line, or the moment water is about to freeze. At that knife edge, the smallest nudge doesn't stay small. It's felt everywhere at once. A murmuration seems to live permanently at that edge. And the astonishing part is what happens when it grows. In most systems, bigger means harder to keep in step. Here, it's the opposite. The larger the flock, the farther a single bird's influence reaches, stretching to match its size. 100,000 birds bang, always poised, always ready to move together. Physicists call this living at a critical point. It's the leading explanation, and the measurements behind it are remarkably solid.
So why go to all this trouble? For years, people guessed it was about warmth or company. But the largest study of murmurations found a simpler answer: danger. The flocks were biggest and lasted longest exactly when a predator was near. And here it comes, the peregrine falcon, the fastest animal on Earth, folding into a dive at around 200 miles an hour. Against one starling, it's no contest. Against the flock, something remarkable happens. A dark band suddenly ripples across the cloud, racing out ahead of the falcon. That band isn't birds bunching up, and it isn't panic. It's thousands of birds banking in sequence, each one tilting its wings flat toward us for a heartbeat, so a wave of darker silhouettes rolls across the flock, faster than the birds themselves can fly. And it works. It muddles the hunter and measurably lowers its odds of a kill. The murmuration is a shield made of arithmetic.
So pull back and look at the whole thing again. There's no commander, no blueprint, just thousands of birds, each one quietly minding about 7 neighbors. And out of that single small habit rises a creature the size of the sky, one with no brain of its own that still moves and turns and decides as one. There is no one in charge of a murmuration, and that is precisely why it works. One quiet thing before you go. These great clouds are thinner than they once were. Starlings are slipping out of our countryside, and the spectacle is fading with them. It's worth looking up for, while it's still here. The world beneath the surface is stranger than it looks. If a flock of birds can think with no brain at all, what else out there is quietly doing the same? Subscribe to Wonderground, and we'll keep looking up.